dedicated to getting all the information out to the community, having an educated voting block. This is definitely a big way of how we get that done. So, without too much further ado, we are in a house of worship, so we cannot begin anything without putting that faith first. So I want to introduce Reverend Ivan Kennedy to give us our opening prayer and our blessing here.
Amen.
Thank you, Lord. Do me a favor, my hands with me as we go to the throne of grace. Lord, we thank you for your goodness and for your mercy. Lord, we thank you for life, health, and strength. We thank you for all the preacher conference that we enjoy. Father, we thank you for this event, oh God, and we ask that you would bless those that have put it together and all of those in attendance. Father, we thank you that we live in a democratic society, that we have the privilege and responsibility to choose those that govern over us. Father, we thank you for the men and women that have chosen to follow your example in Matthew 20:28, where it says that, Lord, you said that you came not to be served, but to serve. And so, Lord, we ask them and ask that you would be with each one, oh God, even as they come and stand before us, oh God, with the exchange of events, oh God, with the exchange of ideas. Father, with their hopes and Lord, and what they would choose to do, what they would like to do to bless this, your great people of the city of Cleveland. And we thank you again for what you're going to do in our presence. In Jesus' matchless name, everybody said amen.
Amen. Amen.
All right. So again, we have many races that are on the ballot this year, but you know, it's all about us making sure that we are educated about who are in those races, the candidates, and the position they serve. With that being said, I want to introduce President Billy Sharp to introduce our initial keynote speaker, who will let us know just how important voting is and all the things we need to be worried about in this election season. So with that, President Billy Sharp of the Urban League Guild of Greater Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming again. My name is Billy Sharp, and I'm president of the Urban League Guild of Greater Cleveland. The first thing I want to do is give some kind words from our Pastor Nathan Nance, who could not be here with us this morning. He's here every year to do our opening prayer, but he sends his regards because he could not be here. So right now, I would like to my Urban League team to come forward and just kind of line up in front. My Urban League team, Melissa, Jason, and Colin up here. Let's give them a round of applause as they come. So this is the team that helped put this together. Also in the audience, we have our President Emeritus, Patricia Trigg. If you could raise your hand. Let's give her a round of applause for her years of dedication and service. We have members from our affiliate here. If you guys can raise your hand. Raise your hand, members of our affiliate. Let's give them a round of applause. So again, I want to thank them. Thank you guys for being dedicated and help us put this event together. So as you know, we are being live streamed. That's kind of what we were waiting on. And as I was sitting in the chair, I said, well, we're kind of used to this type of audience given the pandemic. So as long as we can get it out on live stream and get this information around to everybody, I think we'll do just fine. But our goal is to make sure that you are informed voters. So we're dubbing this the closing arguments. So we're glad all of our candidates come to get you their closing arguments. Election day is not too far away, but we want you to be informed voters. So with that said, I want to introduce our keynote speaker. I'm so happy that she's here. She could make it. She does this for us every year. Judge Ms. Sandra Collier-Williams. Let's give her a round of applause.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We're in the house of God, so I'm going to say praise the Lord.
Glory to God.
I am so happy to be here and so thankful to the Urban League, the Urban Guild, and Billy Sharp for putting this together. He puts it together every year, and we appreciate that because there's nothing more important than your right to vote. And by bringing candidates out, we are ensuring that at least you have the opportunity to hear them and so that you can make your decisions on who you believe will be the best candidate for that particular position. And I'm also mindful of the thought that I'm really preaching to the choir. If you're here, you know about voting. You know the importance of voting. You know what is at stake. So I'm hoping that what you hear today, you will take home with you. You'll take back to your neighborhoods. You'll take back to your other organizations and sort of spread the word of what you hear today, as well as these candidates. It is important for us as a community to understand and know that we have the power to put people in office or not put them in office, and you have to recognize that power. You know, when you're dealing with people, for example, who are running for judges, and because I'm a judge, I think about that a lot. You want someone who you believe will be compassionate, who will look at the facts and deal with those facts in a compassionate and fair manner. That's what you're looking for. So when you are meeting the candidates, you want to talk to them. You want to get to kind of know them. And you still don't really know them. But it's important to sort of look at what the emphasis is. For those of you who don't know me, I am Judge Cassandra Collier-Williams, and I currently have the honor of serving you on the Court of Common Pleas of Cuyahoga County General Division. So I deal with your larger crimes, your felonies, and your large civil matters. And I'm very, very thankful for doing that. I mean, you know, you guys have elected me twice, and I'm not on the ballot this year, I'm not on the ballot next year, but I'm here because I want you to understand who I am, and I want you to understand how important you are, each and every one of you, in your votes. When we're dealing with people in the legislature, you know, some of the hard questions are you in favor of reparations? I think that's an important issue for our community, and we need to address it at times. And all the different types of offices that are represented today, they are important, and you are important. I remember when I was young, my mother, who's also a minister, we used to like Mom's Maid. I don't know, some of you are probably way too young. You don't know about Mom's Maid. You don't know about Mom's Maid. And I remember there was this one joke that she would tell, and it was about a man who was traveling from Atlanta to New York. And he was traveling on a Greyhound bus. And back then, you know, we all traveled. That's how we got around. It was by the Greyhound bus. And I believe that they said that he was in the bus station and he had some time. He had a layover. Because, you know, you would go from point A to point B, then you had to wait for that next bus to get you to the next stop. So he was on a layover. And when he was in the layover, in those bus stations back then, they used to have, it was a weight machine, but it was also a fortune-telling machine. So you would get on the thing and they would tell you your weight. And then you put your nickel in or put your penny in, and the card would come out, and it would read your fortune. And they said that this particular man, he put his money in the machine, he got on it, the card came out, and it says, you know, you are a Negro, you're on your way to New York City, and you weigh 220 pounds. He's like, wow. This is real. How do they know this? This is unbelievable. So he saw a Native American who happened to be in full dress. So he said, come, now I want you to get on this machine. I want to see what it says for you. The Native American got on it, put the money in, the card came out and said, you are a member of the Cherokee tribe. You're on your way back to the reservation and you weigh 240 pounds. The guy was like, wow, how is this possible? I don't understand. How is this machine able to read us every time someone gets on this machine? He just didn't understand it. So he said, here's what I want you to do, man. He said, let me borrow your robe, let me borrow your headdress. So he put the headdress on, he put the robe around him, and he got back on the scale. And he put his penny in, the card came out and says, you now weigh 225 pounds. And he said, you're still a Negro. And then it said, but you fooled around with that Indian and you don't miss your bus. So I say that because sometimes we are fooling around with other things and we missed our bus. Because we need to stay focused on what we have to do. I believe there's one time, there's a friend of mine who is, we are co-chairs of the newly formed Ohio Black Judges Association in Ohio. And one of the things she always says is we have to be purposeful in what we do. We have to do it with a purpose. We can't just lollygag and do nothing or do something halfway. So I'm telling you all this today because as citizens of this county, you have a mighty power. Spread the word. Let people know who's here, what they had to say, and why they should or should not vote for them. Spread the word. Be purposeful in what you do because we don't want to miss our bus. Thank you very much. And I have to go. Judge Larry Jones's funeral is starting, and we do have a judicial procession. So I'm going to be running out of here. So please don't think I'm leaving just because I'm leaving. I'm leaving because I do have another thing we have to go to his funeral. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joan. Interestingly enough, our next part of the program is actually to recognize the elected officials in the room. So I think that will be Judge Collier Williams. If there's any other elected officials in the room, you can, Michael Lindsay from over there, and Nelson Citron. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Oh, I just think of you as Andre Nelson Moore's mom, but also the councilwoman from Richmond Heights is also here, so I appreciate you for being here. Judge Collier Williams spoke about not missing your bus. I think it's also important for us to talk about being early for your bus, just like we should all be getting out there to vote early. And I just want to recognize one candidate that's not even on the ballot who came out early this year. That's Lee Weingart. Lee Weingart actually showed up to the community and important. So, as far as educating the people go, I don't know if you noticed, most of us in here are wearing masks because COVID is real and we need to be as extremely vigilant as possible. So with that being in mind, I want to introduce Dr. Charles Modlin, newly of Metro Health here in Cleveland, to give us a quick update on why we're still wearing these masks, why we need to remain vigilant, and what we can do to protect ourselves during the pandemic. Dr. Charles Modlin.
Yeah, thanks, Colin. It's really my honor to be here this morning. And you shouldn't have put me on after the judge. I mean, I can't speak like that. She's so, inspiring. So, but no, I just wanted to give a quick update, a 2-minute update, because as the judge said, we don't want to miss our bus. And unfortunately, especially in African American communities, this COVID-19 pandemic the last couple of years has really been disproportionately devastating, especially the Black community. To date, there's 736,000 Americans who have actually died from the COVID-19 pandemic, and Ohio ranks about number 8 amongst the states in terms of the number of individuals who have been afflicted and died from COVID. And the COVID pandemic, unfortunately, is still amongst us. It's primarily being manifested today by the Delta variant. And we've heard this, but actually about 99% of the cases that are infecting and causing chaos amongst individuals in this country, and Ohio, Cuyahoga County especially, are related to the Delta variant. The Delta variant is known to be much more contagious, infective than the original variant. And there are other variants that have been identified that we may be seeing in America as well. One important thing to note is that individuals who have even been vaccinated can still become infected and suffer dire consequences from the Delta variant. However, if you've been vaccinated, your chances, your likelihood of developing serious infection requiring hospitalization or causing death are markedly reduced. And I've heard in the media, many people have said, well, if I get vaccinated with the COVID vaccine, why do I care whether or not any of my community members have been themselves vaccinated? Well, the individuals who are predominantly, as I said, being hospitalized and dying are individuals who have not been vaccinated. And these individuals, when they acquire COVID, they actually have the ability to transmit the virus to individuals who have already themselves been vaccinated. So we get vaccinated to not only protect ourselves, but also to protect our loved ones, our family, our community members, and our society. So it's very important that we do get vaccinated, and I want to make myself available to all of the elected officials, all of the candidates, because you are going to be seen as your community leader. You are seen as the leaders in your community, and the community is going to be taking direction and taking advice from you. And one of the things that we need to do is pattern behaviors and make sure that we ourselves, as the elected officials and community leaders, are setting the stage, getting vaccinated, and encouraging others themselves also to get vaccinated. So, as I said, I mean, there are things that we can do. The other update is that the FDA will be soon approving COVID vaccines for children 5 years and up. And I know there's a lot of controversy in terms of whether we should be getting our children vaccinated. The Pfizer vaccine is approved for children 16 years and above, and also for emergency use authorization in kids ages 12 to 15. The Moderna vaccine is now approved for individuals 16 years and older. And a few days ago, actually, the FDA approved Pfizer boosters as well as Moderna boosters. And one of the big questions is can you mix and match the vaccines? If you got the Pfizer, can you get the Moderna booster, and vice versa? And the answer is yes. So I mean, these are just some of the new information that's been recently released by the FDA. I think it's important that we all stay up to date in terms of the current information and credible information. I would say the credible sources of information are the FDA and the CDC, as well as the Ohio Department of Health. So, with that in mind, I want to make myself available to be a resource to all of you. Colin knows how to get in touch with me. I'm the new medical director of diversity over at the Metro Health Medical Center. So, proud to be there. And thanks for giving me an opportunity to give this quick update. I also have to leave. I have a Health Legacy of Cleveland board meeting at 10 o'clock. And I have to be there because I'm one of the board members. So, but thank you and good luck to everybody.
Appreciate you, Doc. Doc is a little, I'll say, humble. He is an author of the NDA. He is on the governor's task force for us. So Dr. Charles Holland is really important. So as he walked out, I just want to give him one more hand. Thank you so much, Doc, for being here. All right. Looks like we've had some more people trickle in, which is great. So we'll get to what everyone's here to see, I guess, and not being candidates. So we will start with the Shaker Municipal Judge race, and we will have Bishop Ward come introduce this first candidate here.
Good morning. Oh my gosh, good morning.
Morning.
I am so thankful to be here today, to be with you, to see all of these candidates, and the majority of them are responsible enough for us to be making sure that we get out here and elect them to office, and to make sure that they are having an opportunity to serve the public. I'm so glad to see Mike Palencia here. I know he's got to go because he and Judge Larry Jones were cohorts together on City Council. And I'm thankful to see him just here today. But I'm here to introduce Ann Walton Keller. She's a magistrate in Shaker Heights. I'm familiar with Shaker Heights because I grew up there since 1965. And I know how the climate has changed there. But I'm going to ask that you will consider her for this position. Even though there are other candidates running for the position, she has been in the position to know how the courts handle people who come into the Shaker community. She is sensitive. She's a bright young lady. She's a young mother. Amen. Just had a baby whom I'm known as Lucy. Amen. Who's continued to be a bright spot in her life, but she knows how to serve people. So with that, I'm going to let her introduce herself. Ann Walton Kelly.
All right, thank you, Bishop Ward. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much to the Urban League and to the Guild for having us here today. I am so grateful for the opportunity to speak to you. I am in this race running for judge of Shaker Heights Municipal Court because I want to help people. I want to tell you a little bit about my background and why I believe that I can help you as the next judge of Shaker Heights. I started my practice as a criminal defense attorney. And as a criminal defense attorney, I represented people charged with minor offenses such as traffic offenses, all the way up to offenses as serious as murder. And I learned so much about the law and about criminal and traffic law in particular that when the opportunity came to be a magistrate and acting judge in the Shaker Heights Municipal Court, I took it because I knew I wanted to go into public service. And in the past 5 years as magistrate and acting judge of the court, I've learned how the court is run. I've come up with many ideas which I would like to institute as judge of the Shaker Heights Court. And I believe that I'm the candidate who can hit the ground running on day one to help you and to make those changes. During the past year, some things that I have been instrumental in are reducing, I hope I'm not speaking too loud, are reducing the court's bonds to non-monetary bonds for non-violent offenses. And I have also developed a number of plans that I will immediately effectuate when I am elected judge of Shaker Heights. One of those plans is to have a public defender present during court proceedings. I've seen through my experience in the court that people who come into court are afraid. They don't know what to do, and they need more than a piece of paper to tell them how to plead and what rights they have. And on the bench, I find myself very frequently telling people, I'm not ready to accept your plea because I don't believe you understand the consequences of this, and I don't want this to follow you around for the rest of your life. So I have found that I will have a public defender in court to meet with people prior to entering a plea and to represent them in their case if they so choose. I think that that's the most immediate way to bring change to the court. I also want to have a dedicated special docket for domestic violence cases to put more resources towards our families. And I want to make sure that the court's technology and websites are updated so that people can easily understand what's going on in their case. I have all of the knowledge that I've gained over the past 5 years at the court, plus all the time that I had in private practice. I want to put that to work for you. I am here because I want to help you. That's why I entered public service. And your vote is important to me. I hope that you will look me up. I hope that you will consider me on November 2nd. And most of all, I hope that you'll go out and vote. I am very grateful to Bishop Ward for supporting me, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. Thank you all.
Awesome. All right. Moving right along through the Shaker Court, we also have, yes, we do have a timekeeper. So who's the timekeepers? It's a gentleman that's very ugly tan suit here. This one right here? That one right here? That's the one you should be looking for. All right. But we also have another candidate from the Shaker Municipal System. That's Ms. Sydney Saffold. She doesn't have her reverend here today, but Reverend Otis Moss of Olivet, Walter Martin Luther King. If you're familiar with this city, you know who Reverend Otis Moss is. That is this young lady's spiritual guidance here. So Sydney Saffold, her mother's already on the bench. It's a family that's been serving for a long time. So we're really excited to have Sydney Saffold here. Sydney? You can clap, it's okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sydney Strickland Saffold, and I am seeking your votes for my candidacy as judge in Shaker Heights Municipal Court on November 2nd. The court serves Pepper Pike, University Heights, Beechwood, and Hunting Valley. I'm an experienced litigator. I'm the best candidate for this position because I've represented thousands of people and worked with hundreds of prosecutors and have had the experience practicing extensively both in the Shaker Heights Municipal Court as well as courts throughout the state of Ohio, all the way down to Franklin County, throughout federal courts, and all over the state. My intention is to bring the best practices that I've observed in each of these courts to the Shaker Heights Municipal Court. When I'm elected, I will be the first ever elected black judge to sit on the bench in the Shaker Heights Municipal Court, which is monumental. The community is diverse. I want to be a reflection of the community. It's what the community deserves. I've had experience working with individuals on every type of docket throughout my practice, and the most important aspect of my practice and most valuable to me has been serving individuals who are mental health court eligible. I want to fold the components and the education I've gotten serving on the mental health court docket into the Shaker Heights Municipal Court to expand upon the diversion program that exists there so that we can get workforce development, dual diagnosis programming made available to people, and have the opportunity to improve upon people's lives and allow them to move through the court without being encumbered by a conviction. I'm seeking your votes for November 2nd so that we can bring change to the Shaker Heights Municipal Court. We can bring representation to the bench. It's time. Thank you.
All right. So again, as you all are aware, we do have the unfortunate passing of the infamous Judge Larry Jones, who did a lot for the city. So we want to make sure everyone has a chance to pay their respect. So with that being said, we're going to bring up our next candidate, Mr. Mike Valencic from Ward 8, who is running to retain his seat. Mike Valencic.
Thank you very much, and good morning. And as indicated, Judge Larry Jones and I were longtime friends, but not only this morning is Larry Jones' funeral, but also another dear friend, Mansfield Frazier. So I hope you would keep both of those fine gentlemen in your prayers. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here. Reverend Kennedy, my dear friend, Bishop Ward, go back a long way. I'm running for re-election. Councilman Mike Valencic, and I represent the Cleveland State Ward. I'm a senior member of Cleveland City Council. I've had the pleasure and distinction to represent this community for many years. I'm a longtime resident, was born in the Glenville community on East 120th Street, and grew up in Collinwood, was raised in Collinwood. So my life experience has been on the northeast side of the city. I will put my record in public office, my voting record, my attendance record, and my legislative record against anyone who's ever served in Cleveland City Council. I'm proud of that fact. I think the only one that ever could say that would be my dear late friend, Fannie Lewis. I practice what I preach. What you see with me is what you get. I mix no words, I play no games, I represent my community to the best of my ability. I've been a full-time councilman for all these years. That's a commitment I made when I was elected a long time ago, that I would serve my community. It's about proven results. This election is about proven results and dedication and service. I live in the ward. I live in Ward 8. I raised 5 children there. I've invested substantially on projects and programs, just like most recently supporting and co-sponsoring legislation for the Cleveland Food Bank, $5 million. I appreciate my colleagues for supporting that. Keeping Collinwood High School open, Eastwood 85th Street beautification project, which is going to start next year, East 140 and Ivanhoe Road projects, which are going to begin, and all the other endeavors that I've worked on over the years. But the bottom line is this: I represent my community to the best of my ability. In the September primary, I received 77% of the vote in a 3-way race. I am very thankful and humbled by that. And I respectfully ask again for the residents of the Ward 8 community to support me on November 2nd, because it really is about proven results and about dedication and commitment. I've been involved in all the neighborhood groups. You know, Fannie, my dear late friend Fannie, talked about what we refer to as dandelion candidates that come out in the spring, in late winter, early spring, and then disappear. I'm not a dandelion candidate. I've been around. I've shown my commitment. My time up. Okay? Thank you. God bless you. I'm headed to the service of the Lord. God bless you.
Thank you. All right, in all fairness, we should keep the races as candidates as close to each other as possible. So we're going to divert from our program a little bit. But I want to bring up the upstart candidate from Ward 8, Ms. Asia Bowles, been on the ground for a while here. Jones, I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Asia Jones, I apologize. See, I see you on the news so much. Miss Asia Jones, Ward 8.
Good morning. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Billy. Thank you to everyone at the greater, Urban League, Greater Cleveland. I'm so glad to be here giving out to God and glad we're in the church. I also want to honor my husband who came here with me today. A little bit about myself. My name is Asia Jones. I'm a grassroots organizer and activist. I was raised and bred in Cleveland in Ward 8. I'm so glad for the opportunity to serve in this capacity. Through my experience as a nonprofit professional and grassroots organizer, I've understand and I've realized the positive factors of the many issues that our neighborhoods face, whether it be poverty, whether it be inequitable health access, whether it be crime. These are things that have positive factors, and they're due to so many other things, right? With that experience, I look to serve, be a servant leader in Ward 8 as the very first woman elected councilperson in Hollywood, right? Ward 8 represents many neighborhoods, and I look to serve every neighborhood. It's time for change. It's time for new urgent leadership, and I just want to thank you all for allowing me to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Love to see the young couples out here doing the political thing together. So let's give them a hand for that. I'm here supporting them. All right. So before we go any further, we're going to take another break for the candidates. We try to break up as much as possible. It gets boring hearing all us political people talk. I know that. So we'd love to hear from our new vice president of the Urban League affiliate, Sharon Strickland, who will give the welcome from our CEO, if that's okay. She will shout clap for her. You're a little taller than Marsha. I don't like this. Don't do that. We don't think.
First of all, I'm Cheryl Thomas Washburn. Sharon Strickland is our amazing executive assistant. No, you're fine. This is week number 4 in the job. So, on behalf of our wonderful CEO and president, irreplaceable, Marsha McAbee, I stand here and I welcome you to this event today. The Urban League Guild is amazing. And the work that they do throughout the community around volunteering and the events to serve the community, it's the diligence and it's what builds community. So I'm wholly thankful to be here. I'm wholly thankful to be a part of the Urban League as we empower communities and change lives. So thank you each for participating and coming and sharing what it is that you want people to know about you, why you should vote for you, right? Give it all you got. We want to compel, we want to hear everything so that we know what we're voting for and who we're voting for. So I thank you. I thank you all for being here and have a wonderful day.
One second. So, at this Meet the Candidates Forum, we're unveiling a new piece of our event, and it is our Guild Hall of Fame. So, in our breakfast portion, we inducted our Guild Secretary, Deidre Wilson. So, at this point, I want to announce our next inductee, which will be Marsha McAbee. So I want you to accept this on her behalf. So this is, she is? Oh, right on time. So, let me, I'll come down there as she walks up. So our illustrious CEO, who has awesome timing, as I was just getting ready to announce this, CEO Maccabee, we are starting at the Urban League Guild, our Guild Hall of Fame, and you are now our inductee for this year. Come right on up. So this young lady who has supported me being president these last 4 years, awesome support. So you were one of the 4, and we want to thank you so much. So this is from the Guild, Urban League Guild, and it's signed by myself and Vice President Colin Jackson. So thank you for all your years of service. And I'm gonna hand you the mic and give you. Now she's coming in right off the street, so give her a second. I'm gonna go back and put my mask on.
You all right? You good? You're good. Go ahead.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Just first of all, I'm sorry to be detained this morning. You know, when you're on call 24/7 in this community, you never know what's going to happen from night to morning to. And I just would like to ask for a moment of silence for, you know, I've been dealing with 4 deaths within the last 24 hours. One of which happens to be a staff member of the Urban League. So I'd like a moment of silence for Dr. Terrence Robinson. Thank you. We also want to remember today Judge Larry Jones, who services today, and our community person, Mansfield Frazier. So it's been a tough week. It's been a lot going on. But we're so thankful that you're here. The Urban League's mission is to make sure that we empower communities and change lives. And we know that we do that through education, research, and provision of services. And so today we're bringing all 3 of those: education, in terms of our candidates sharing their agendas with you today. Advocacy, we're advocating around issues, and the fact that voting is so very important. We know our vote is our voice, right? And all over this country, our voice is trying to be squelched. But on this watch, we're going to be doing everything that we can to make sure that our voice continues to be heard. And then finally, provision of services. So one thing that makes the Urban League different than some of our other civil rights organizations is we were designed, when we were built, we were that lane in the middle that delivers services to our community. We help people get jobs, we help people get access to entrepreneurship, to scholarships, to all kinds of things in education. So with that, I'm not going to belabor because I thank you for making room for me in spite of my crazy schedule this morning. And I am, again, thankful to my guild who continues to do this every year. They are the extension of the Urban League. They are amazing, keeping a community touch for the Urban League of Greater Cleveland. They do an amazing job. I want to commend President Billy and Vice President Colin Jackson for putting this together, and for all of the guild members for supporting, and for my staff also who are here. So thank you again for being here today.
They don't include me too many pictures of them, whatever. Hey, who in this room ever got a picture taken by Louis Moore? Yeah. Raise your hand. You know, with 3 poses, the first one you think, the one that you think gonna work better, and the one that Louis actually wants. So we really appreciate that. Very quickly, we want to keep it going. I want to thank again CEO for making the step in, but we also have some more candidates that continue to move on. So I want to introduce Ms. Monique Moore for Ward 2. She will get her 2 minutes to speak. And just so you're clear, that guy in that ugly suit, once again, is going to give you a 1 minute sign there, and that's how you know. All right, take your time, though. Well, Ms. Monique Moore.
Again, my name is Monique Moore. And I run for City Council of Ward 2. Okay, I'm running for City Council of Ward 2. My background consists of working for the criminal justice system for over 30 years, and with criminal justice system for over 30 years. But I'm also a beneficiary of the Urban League, because they helped me when I was starting my business, create my business plan. So I thank you guys for helping me with that before the funding was cut. So I thank you guys for doing that. The reason why I'm running is because in Ward 2 alone, you have approximately 8,000 people who are below the poverty level. And unfortunately, they are not receiving any opportunities, economic opportunities. The one way that we will solve that problem is by, when you look at Little Italy, when you look at the Jewish community, when you look at Slavic Village, when you look at Chinatown, you see the small businesses that are there to employ people who look just like them. Unfortunately, we do not have that. The second element to this is 61% of households are headed by women raising children under the age of 18. And unfortunately, these fatherless children are killing each other in the streets. The representation that we have today, we have a mayoral candidate who says that the police deserves an A and a C. It lets you know what's indicative, that they're complicit and that they do not understand the issues that are affecting certain communities. So in order to change the narrative, we must change the faces. This is one of the main reasons why I felt compelled to run in City Council Ward 2, because our children are dying in the streets and no one is doing absolutely nothing. So again, that's why I say Ward 2 deserves more. Ward 2 deserves Monique Moore, and I thank you.
All right, thank you, Monique. Thank you, I really appreciate that. I think we'll trade one more. Very quickly, just want to let everybody acknowledge that Kevin Bishop was here, but again, we have those multiple funerals happening today, so he did have to leave. But in all fairness, Mr. Bishop was here to fellowship with us for the breakfast time. As I said, we'll go ahead and trade one more for another more. Ms. Andrea Nelson Moore, who is running for Cleveland Municipal Judge spot. If you can give her a hand, she'll get some.
Good morning. My name is Andrea Nelson Moore, and I humbly stand before you as a candidate for judge of Cleveland Municipal Court. First, I'd like to give honor to God. I am in his house, to President Sharp and Vice President Jackson, to Ms. Monkabee. Thank you for having me here. Let me give you a little bit of information about me. I am a lifelong Greater Clevelander. I am currently Assistant Law Director of Cuyahoga County and have been a licensed attorney now for 22 years. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology and obtained my Juris Doctorate from Cleveland Marshall College of Law. I stand before you as a candidate for judge because I understand and recognize the need for us to have judges who have the professional competency, cultural competency, and emotional competency to serve on the bench if we're going to be arbiters of facts. I have, again, been a licensed attorney for 22 years, not 12, but 22 years, and I've covered a multitude of areas in practice of law. I've been an assistant law director, which is what I'm currently now. I've been a judicial staff attorney, a deputy inspector general, a prosecutor, and a criminal defense attorney. So all of those things are relevant because the Cleveland Municipal Court hears the misdemeanor cases, civil cases under $15,000, small claims, and traffic. all of which I have handled. And I think it's only fair for us to request that our judges who serve in that seat have the same type of experience that match up with what's required of them. And I can go in day one handling the cases that are going to come before me. So let me tell you this. I know someone probably has said it, but we have early voting, which has already started. You can go down to the Board of Election all this week from 8 to 7. I am on the ballot. So let me take the data out for you. I'm the Moore who is opposed. I am the Democratic endorsed candidate. I have a Republican opponent. You'll have the Congress seat that you have to look for if you're in the city of Cleveland. It's time. Oh man. Well, I tell you what, I'm all the way down. I'm the one who has the opponent. So look for Andrea Nelson Moore because I have more work to do. Thank you.
All right, moving right along. I don't know what happened. I missed the bus that dropped off all the candidates. Y'all popped in at the same time. It's good to see you. Good to see all of you. So moving right along here, we have a pleasure of having State Representative Stephanie House, who is now looking to take over that Ward 7 seat. So Stephanie, you can come on up.
Oh.
Well, good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Good. I want to thank the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, the GILD, President Munkerby, and for the team that put this candidate forum together. I know this is something that you all very quickly do. But for those who may not know me, my name is Stephanie House. I have the honor of serving as a state representative for Ohio's 11th House District. And I'm running for Cleveland City Council because I believe I can bring my legislative experience and my love of our community to Cleveland City Council. One of the things that I always like to bring up to people that there are two candidates in the race. We both have a legislative or actual record, and I encourage people to look at our records for the things that we do. My record will demonstrate I have a true commitment to service. When it comes to policy, I have introduced over 40 pieces of legislation. Being a Democrat and a super minority in the Ohio General Assembly, I have successfully passed 5 pieces of legislation, most recently $11 million committed to infant and maternal mortality here in the state of Ohio. And I know my record speaks that I actually have a passion for people and a commitment to serve. And if people give me an opportunity, I just want to actually work with people so that we can get what we truly want. We can do that focusing on community building, entrepreneurship and economics, and healing and restorations for a safe community. Again, my name is Stephanie House, and if you know anyone that lives in Ward 7, which basically goes from East 12th to Ansel, Chester to St. Clair, tell them to vote for me between now and November 2nd. Thank you all so much and have a blessed weekend.
Okay, moving right along in our program. At this point, we are going about when you actually walk in the building, so please be patient with us. So, make sure I get this candidate right. Mr. Nelson Citron, he is running to retain his seat in Council Ward 14. It's been on since 1997. So with that, I would like to welcome candidate and Councilman Nelson Citron.
Muchas gracias. I'm a former councilman who was elected in 1998 to 2005. I was about to jump back on this race. And the reason is that Ward 14 represents 5 great neighborhoods. But as we all have seen for the city of Cleveland, only one neighborhood gets taken care of, the rest of them don't get taken care of. When I see the statistic and the numbers of our community, at one time it was Caucasian and Hispanic. We are seeing a great number of African American moving into our community, making us more of a diverse community. We have to make sure also that with all this major development of dollars that we have given the sports complex and everything in the city of Cleveland, our families are suffering. Because our property taxes continue going up, our seniors are losing their houses, but we're paying for those big corporations their funding. I'm looking to work with the state, federal government, and every single level to see how our seniors don't have to pay property taxes. And I know it works, because in Puerto Rico, we make sure that our seniors don't pay property taxes on their houses. That way they don't lose their homes. Another thing is about our schools, our education. I was one of the first children to be bused in the city of Cleveland and attended Patrick Henry. And I was proud to be part of Patrick Henry and ran track at Patrick Henry. But when this epidemic hit us real hard in the city of Cleveland, our children were forced to study in their houses. Where some of our politicians don't look at the federal level of government. The federal government just put funding into broadband. They gives families $50 off their internet. And it's called Get Emergency Broadband. We're spending it, continue spending and spending money in the city of Cleveland like it's a free credit card. We have to have accountability. I am owner of radio stations after I left City Council. I grew up in the broadcasting field, and many years ago, my dad was the first Hispanic broadcaster in the city of Cleveland who helped Carl Stoltz to come into our community and make sure we united together as Latinos and African Americans to get Carl Stoltz elected. And we can do the same thing here in the city of Cleveland. We can all work together as family because we are one. We are Cleveland's, and this is the land. Remember, Nelson Throne for Cleveland Ward 14 City Council. Mr. Bibb, congratulations, and I look forward to work with you.
Minor correction, he is not the current incumbent. That was a mistake Colin Jackson made, so I apologize for that. All right, right now we're going to take a little break from the candidates, and I'm going to introduce Ms. Carmen Hall from the BOE to let us know about another part of the election we don't often think about, which would be poll workers. It's important for us not only to be voting in these elections, but also intricately working in these elections. So, Carmen Hall, the BOE.
Thank you. Praise God. My name is Carmen Hall, and I am here on behalf of the Board of Education. I'm sorry, Board of Elections. The reason why I'm here is we're trying to promote poll workers so we can facilitate all of your votes. It's a rewarding job if you work the first day, Monday, for part of the day, and then the whole day. All you do is scan cards, but it's very important work. So if you have time, register. If you know anybody, let them know. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, that was a great, brief, and concise statement there. You very rarely get that in pulpits. A lot of times people like to get up here and pontificate and tell you about their whole life story and their salvation. You didn't do that. I appreciate that, Carmen. Thank you. All right, we're going to keep moving on with these candidates. Who do we have next? Okay, Cleveland Heights Mayor, Khalil, how do you say your last name, Khalil? Sarah, Khalil Sarah, Cleveland Heights Mayor. I think this is the first time they're actually electing a mayor in Cleveland Heights, so that's real exciting. Good to have you with us.
All right, thank you everybody for having me here. My name is Khalil Sarin. I am running to be the first elected mayor of Cleveland Heights. We changed our form of government in 2019 because we recognized that our government was not representing the people. Now, I've been on council for about 6 years, most recently serving as the vice president of the city council in Cleveland Heights. And since I started in 2015, I recognized that something needed to change because the government was not responding, the government was not receiving and incorporating input from the people into the decisions that we were making. We were hiding those discussions from the people and making it very difficult for them to involve themselves in the governance of their own city. Now, the work that I do professionally is in the realm of development, economic development, workforce development, community development, general government administration on the staff of Cuyahoga County Council for the last 10 years. And I bring that expertise to the work that I do for the city that I love, Cleveland Heights. Now, Cleveland Heights has a strong legacy of being a progressive, inclusive city. And in my view, it is incumbent on our government to take that legacy and cast it into the future and make sure that we are living up to that legacy, living up to the promise that we give to our people, that we live in an inclusive, diverse society. And that's the kind of work that I want to do as mayor of Cleveland Heights. If you know anybody in Cleveland Heights, please point them in my direction, SarenForMayor.com, to learn more about me, my background, professional background, and my personal background. And I encourage every one of you to get out there and vote no matter where you live. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
All right, moving right along. We got a nice little group of millennials happening right now, so I don't want to break that up. So next one I'm going to introduce Mr. Richard Starr, running for Ward 5. Richard Starr, Ward 5. Let's give him a hand. And you can tell he's a Neo because he still got his letters on. Look at that.
Only one way to go, ask Justin. How y'all doing today? I know we all have a script and things we want to talk about, but I just wanted to make sure I come here first to thank the Urban League for putting on this event yet again another year. They always do a great job making sure we educate the people on what's going on as far as politics. My name is Richard Starr, and I was born and raised in King Kenny Estates. As someone who grew up in the central community, I'm aware of the many challenges that we face, but I am committed to finding solutions that put the interest of residents first. Ward 5 has been in a crisis due to the lack of leadership. And I'm not just talking about now, I'm talking about even when I was a teenager. So today I stand here to tell you that not only did I grew up in King Kennedy, I graduated from East Tech, I graduated from Gordon Wallace with my master's degree in business administration, and for the past 14 years, I've been serving my community since I was 18 years old. So today I stand here and tell people and the voters, I want you to do the research. Like the young folks say, pull that smartphone out, search the candidates, and you will see my record stands up against anyone that lives in Ward 5. I've been serving and continue to serve no matter what happens. But I also want us to understand that poverty is real. I understand the trauma we face after losing a loved one and having to bury them due to gun violence. I understand the median income of $12,577 in Ward 5 is not enough. So it's time for us on November 2nd to vote for leadership that's going to work for the people and not work against the people. If you understand me, you know what I mean. Time is for change, and it starts with us voting as a city, voting as a ward. So vote for Richard Starr to change that we need. Thank you.
Man, he said some really important stuff, but all I know is that I'm going to change my last name because, you know, ballot names like Star and Sharp, you know, you put that on the yard sign. Jackson don't work too good, though. It's just rather basic, you know. It's got a little history, but just something I was thinking about. So very quickly, we're going to keep moving in the program. Just another brief interjection here. We're going to have President Billy Sharp to enter our next inductee to our Urban League Guild Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Carl. All right, so we're going to continue with our new tradition, and we're going to get our next inductee into our Guild Hall of Fame. And the next inductee is former Vice President of the Urban League Guild, Calista Hart. So I'd like her to come forward. I want to let you guys know, since we're all live streaming to the people at home, these inductees did not know. We didn't know notice, so this is a surprise. As you hearing it, they're hearing it for the first time. But Calista has served alongside me for 3 long years, helping me keep it together. I very, very much appreciate her service, and she was on the Guild when I got there. So Calista, from the Guild to you, we appreciate your service, and we know your continued service. Again, this is signed by myself and Colin Jackson, so here you are, Calista. No, this way. All right, And so we'll end this part of the portion with our last and final inductee. We did 4 this year. Our last and final inductee is our former president, Pat Triggs. So I'd like her to come forward. She served as president before me. She mentored me for many years after I became president and continued to serve the Guild. These awards are given out to people who are friends of the Guild, so it can stretch as far as a community partner, obviously our CEO, or even an Urban League employee. So these will continue to go as we continue the years going out, but let's give President Emeritus Pat Triggs a round of applause as she comes. So from the Guild to you, President Emeritus, I can't say enough about what a friend you've been over these many years, and obviously to the Guild. So thank you again. This is signed by myself, Billy Sharp, President of Urban League Guild, and Colin Jackson, Vice President of the Urban League Guild.
Thank you, Billy. I do have something I'd like to say today that has been on my mind all through elections, and that is for everyone, the number, I believe, is 16%, Chantel Brown, and also Mayor Frank Jackson. And these are the numbers that concern me because 16%, if I'm correct, is the number of registered voters that elected these people. All right, so therefore, 84% of registered voters did not vote. So I always say to candidates, I always say to people that to think about in terms of not only voting, but people get out to vote. We might have a small number here today, and I'm glad that time is not on for me. So we might have a small number here today. To me, each one of you represents at least 10 other people that you're going to talk to. I know people in Cleveland Heights, for example, in other places, and we talk. So I'm just saying, please let the vote be not 60% to elect you. Because that means 84% of people did not vote, and they're registered. But I thank you for this honor, Billy.
Thank you. All right, so now I'm going to turn it back over to Colin so we can continue our program. I do want to just say one thing, if we have other candidates come up. I want you guys to be talking to our audience at home and obviously the audience here. So, and nobody knows this as of yet, but a couple of people. So I live in my community, Ward 9, and I make it a purpose to stay in that community to serve. But we got an issue, and the issue, there's several, but one is violence. So as I was in my office this past week, planning an event, gunshots rang out. I didn't pay any attention because it's kind of normal in the area where I stay. But I got up that morning to get ready for work, and I looked at the wall, and it looked like there was a bee on the wall, so I was going to swat the bee. Turned out it was a bullet hole. And several bullet holes. One was in the couch where I actually would sit and watch TV, and the bullet went through the couch into the TV and out the window. So I'm saying that to say, for those of us who care about our communities and want to live in our community, but we have this looming issue, so I'd like to hear as we are making our closing arguments, how are we dealing with that? Because that is something that ails us. And always, more police is not the answer. So I'm saying that to say, I want to hear something, what are some solutions to that as we think in our minds and get ready to get this message out to our people? So I just wanted to say that, pray for me, obviously, and I'm praying for all of you. So I'm turning it back over to Colin Jackson. Thank you, Colin.
I'm glad Billy shared that. I almost lost my president a couple days ago. That would have been real tough. It's been real tough. So not to be solemn, but these are things that we need to be thinking about. We need to understand how to balance this violence in our community with the safety in our community. We need to be thinking about not only the stability of our neighborhoods, but our civil rights and how people are dealing with us. These are real issues. A lot of what you see people come to these candidates forums talk about is politics. They wave, wear their shirt, their supporters cheer for them. That's all great. But how are we keeping these neighborhoods and these communities safe and making them places where communities and children can prosper and be their real, true self and be that self-fulfilling prophecy, self-actualized. Those are the things we need to hear from these candidates. Not to say that we haven't heard it, but it is important to keep that always in the center of our conversation. So with that, I will introduce our youngest mayor candidate in this upcoming election in the city of Cleveland, Mr. Jeremy Dixon.
Yeah.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today?
Morning.
It's always good to be in the house of the Lord, as always. And I want to also thank President Marsha Mockaby for her commitment and dedication to the city and to our people, and to one of the hardest working men in Cleveland, Billy Sharp. Thank you for everything you're doing to uplift our city day in and day out. I'm running for mayor because I believe that we are truly in what Dr. King calls the fierce urgency of now. And in this election, we have a unique opportunity to do the hard work to make sure we get real economic opportunity to our neighborhoods, particularly in the east side of the city. Because when you have a job, when you have hope, when you have dignity, you don't pick up a gun. We also have to recognize that the inequities that we see in our city, from a lack of programming in our rec centers, to the fact that many of our seniors have to call 4 or 5 departments to get their grass cut, to the fact that our pools and rec centers are closed when CMSD is closed. These inequities are only exacerbated by the fact that we have a city hall that is stuck in the 20th century. And we are living in the 21st century economy. And having a modern and responsive city hall is critical to addressing these inequities. And then thirdly, we know we will not be a world-class city until we have a high-quality public school system that works for all of our children.
Yes.
First and foremost. And I want to leave you with one thought. I was in a meeting with some very important educational leaders a couple days ago, and I asked this question. I asked, do we as a city have a comprehensive after-school program strategy for our young people? Guess what the answer was? No. If we don't get back to the basics of giving our young people productive stuff to do when they leave school, making sure they have a pathway to a job when they graduate from CMSD, because we have $1 billion youth unemployment crisis that is costing us a whole lot of opportunity in our city. And not every kid's going to go to college, and that's okay. So we have to expose our young people to the jobs of the future right now before it's too late. And I'm running because I believe it's time to turn the page from the failed politics and politics of the past and move us into a new direction and build a unified city from east side to west side to downtown to make sure we can be that city of hope, that city of opportunity that I know we all dream of and pray about every day. And I want to be your fighter and your leader and your servant leader at 601 Lakeside Avenue. So again, make sure we vote on November 2nd. Every vote's going to count. And keep me in your prayers throughout this election. Thank you, and God bless.
All right, before you go anywhere, so the mayor section of the candidate forum is informed to me that you're going to get 2 questions. One from the CEO, one from President Billy Sharp. So go ahead and stand in line by.
Sure. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
Well,
Okay, you know that the city of Cleveland declared racism as a public health crisis in the city. And there is work already underway to begin to move the needle on structural racism. As mayor, what would you do to continue supporting that effort?
thank you. Well, one, I intend to appoint a chief racial equity officer in my administration if I'm elected that will work across every single department inside City Hall to make sure we are not further exacerbating racism in our city and really identifying structurally what the city can do to tackle systemic inequity in our community. Secondly, as I've said throughout this campaign, I intend to leverage every part of this money we get from President Biden to make sure we bring real opportunity back to Black and brown parts of our city. And I've set an aggressive target that over the next 10 years, I want to try to raise at least $5 billion of public and private sector capital back to the southeast side. Because until we get the southeast side going again, our city will not achieve its long-term potential. And then thirdly, I've been talking to Mayor Cranley out of Cincinnati. The mayor there used money from the American Rescue Plan dollars to incubate a $40+ million Black business fund. That's something we should look at in Cleveland to help support and incubate the next generation of Black business owners across the city. And I'm looking forward to working with you if elected on that project. You're welcome.
Thank you. So the second question will come from me. At this location, we do a food bank once a month.
Yep.
And the guild comes, we teamed up with Matching Generosity Unlimited to help with that food bank to give out information about voting. And we have managed to register every member that comes to this food bank. So the people that I'm about to talk about, they're voters. And so I wanted you to speak specifically to them. They have to use that service. How they got there, we don't know, but we know that they come. And we service 200 to somebody every month. How are we at this organization want to be a hand up and not a handout. You as mayor, how are you speaking to those people with a plan to get them off of that? Because recently, during the pandemic, I have kids that are coming to the food bank that are 18. I don't want to be servicing them to their 25. Yeah. So I mean to their 30. So what kind of plan are we talking about?
Yeah, I was at a forum earlier this week, and I heard a crazy statistic that 7 out of 10 of our families in Cleveland used a food pantry last year. 7 out of 10. 5 out of 10 used a food pantry in 2019. So rising food insecurity is a major problem in the city. And we know that because we are the poorest big city in America, and 1 out of 2 of our children are living in poverty. Now, tackling poverty is a multi-pronged approach. There is not one solution we should be focused on. Here are the things I believe I can control as mayor. Number 1, making sure that our families in the city of Cleveland have access to high-paying jobs in the city, first and foremost. That's why I do support at least the $15 minimum wage, and I want to encourage employers in the city that are going to pay our people their fair share of wages in this community and stand with labor in order to do that. Secondly, I believe that every junior and senior inside of a CMSD high school should have access to a year-round internship or an apprenticeship, making at least $15 an hour. I talked to executives at Lincoln Electric, Eaton, and the Cleveland Clinic. They are paying, high school graduates almost $60,000 to $70,000 a year with the right credentials, and they can't find workers. So what's happened is that our K-12 education system has not done a good enough job of talking to workforce development, and I believe the mayor can use the bullet pulpit at the office to better make those connections. I will also say this, we got to deal with trauma. We talked about this. And we need to make sure in this community we have dedicated social and emotional support for our children and our family. We have the highest teen suicide rate in America right now in Cleveland. And so making sure we have meditation and wellness programs inside the schools is critical. But it all comes down to jobs, and making sure we have an economy that's going to work for everybody. Thank you guys. God bless you.
All right. Take this picture, take it. We'll move on. One of the things I definitely love about the Urban League is we don't take sides in races. We do not endorse candidates. We don't pick any favorites. That's one thing that we're always going to do. So we always make room for both sides of the argument and both candidates in the race. So with that being said, I believe Kevin Kelly was also otherwise occupied this morning for some serious reason, so we hope he is well. But we do have Ms. Bunkers here representing. Pardon me?
Kevin Kelly will be here
At
at 11.
11? All right. I mean, if you'd like to wait, that's up to your campaign. So if that's what the campaign would like to do, we'd rather wait until 11. We can go ahead and do that. So I guess that will be us moving on to, again, not taking sides in any races. Chantel O'Brien's team was here earlier this morning to drop off literature but we do have the other candidate for 11th congressional race, Ms. Laverne Jones, who are actually with us this morning. Let's give her a hand.
Good morning, how are you? Good morning, and thank you all for hosting this type of situation. You know, one of the things I can say to you that I grew up in Cleveland, 92nd and Huff, went to Cleveland Public School Systems, graduated from college with a degree in economics and an MPH in public health and MBT in education. That's not what you can find that all on my website. I think what's important to the people in this room, or it should be important, is what's going on in District 11 and what's going on in the 11th district. This district is surrounded by wealth. It's surrounded by opportunity. Within the confines of the Black community, we have a 66% literacy rate. We have the highest poverty rate in the nation. We also have something that is amazing to me. We have a senior population that has been totally neglected over the last 10 to 12 years. Now, I can say to you that I am a Republican. I was born one. Down in Demopolis, Alabama, a lot of us are Republicans. But I can also suggest to you that what I've seen as I've toured the District 11 is unfair to all of us. Our children can't read. Our children are hungry. Our seniors are hungry. And we have done nothing except to say that we have to hold the party line. I've been Black all my life. And I've been poor. So I'm 92nd and Huff with 9 kids growing up. That's what you're faced with. But our 9 kids, and my mother, I had a great set of parents. They were just incredible. My father had a 9th grade education. But I can suggest to you what he did was he cared for his family, he worked hard, and all of us are successful. So poverty doesn't define you, but it has defined the 11th district, especially in the Black community. And we should all be aware of it, we should be angry, and we should look at the leadership that has put us in a position to be the poorest in the nation, the most illiterate, 66% illiteracy ratio. We should all be so darn mad. And you wonder why we only have 16% of the people coming out to vote. Let's give them someone and someone to vote for. I am Laverne Jones Moore. I am running for Congress. I am a Republican. I am ready, and I will take our community to another level, as the 11th district has done. Thank you.
So, because you have one of our highest office on our form, we're going to give you the same opportunity.